Hey y'all, welcome back to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Charae, and this is season 4 of Inspired Conversations. And I cannot tell y'all how excited I am to be back behind the mic. I'm in front of the camera now, so if you are listening to this, you can also now watch these episodes on my YouTube channel, Inspired by Charae, Charae. For those of you that are returning listeners, welcome back. I'm so glad that you are still here, and I am sorry for the wait, but so much has happened in this past year and a half. It's been a while, and I plan on catching y'all up on all the things. For all the new listeners, I'm so glad that you found us. Welcome. This is season 4, so there are 3 other seasons that are up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, literally wherever you stream your podcast, you can stream Inspired Conversations. So welcome, and welcome again. Inspired Conversations, when I first started it, really just came from me wanting to discuss topics on a larger platform that I was already having discussions about with friends. And they're always such good conversations. I would always think to myself, like, man, this would be like dope to talk about on a larger platform and to engage with other people. So that is really what birthed Inspired Conversations. And it's also a calling that God has put on my life. So I never thought I would be a podcaster, but it makes sense for what God has put in me and just how he has wired me, how he's created me. So I'm really passionate about this. And if you know anything about me, anything about my brand, every time I post a video, I do a podcast episode, if I'm on Instagram, if I'm on TikTok, wherever, it's something that God has put on my heart to share with you guys. So everything that we discuss, whether it's a lighthearted topic or something more serious, whatever it is, if there's advice I'm giving, if there's scriptures, if there's studies that we're doing, whatever it is, I always just urge y'all to take it back to God in prayer. With the podcast specifically, I want y'all to share these episodes. I want you to have discussions with your friends around the topics that we discuss. And I want y'all to engage with me in the comments, down below on YouTube. If you're streaming this, leave comments, leave questions. Like, I want to have conversations with you all. Yes, I love to get, in front of the camera and talk, but I want to engage with you all and really build a community around this topic of purpose, which is what I'm really passionate about. And speaking of purpose, I am so thankful that I know what my purpose is, because whenever I do get off track, I always know how to find my way back. Or if I don't know how to get back, I at least know the direction that I'm headed in. So it's been about a year since my relationship ended, and a lot of y'all are probably like, because I don't really talk about my personal life on any of my platforms. So that's something else that God has been calling me to do, is just be more transparent and at the same time finding a balance. And so in regards to the topic of purpose, which is what you guys know I'm so passionate about, and what I know my calling is, part of my calling is helping people understand their purpose and then pursuing their purpose, right? So, okay, I'm getting so many downloads right now, y'all. I hear you, Holy Spirit. So, I was in a relationship for about a year, and it ended up being a very unhealthy relationship for many reasons. But it took me a year, which is coming up, it's a little over a year now, of just healing from that relationship, right? I think that's so important. But one of the reasons why that relationship was unhealthy is it was pulling me away from my purpose in different ways. And that's why it's so important to know what your purpose is, so that you can make sure that the decisions you're making, whether it be relational, professional, leisure, whatever, like, you want to make sure that it is in alignment with your calling and with your purpose, because if it's not, it is going to cause you to steer off path. The great thing is you can always come back. And so I am excited about my comeback, okay? And I really want to dive into this topic of purpose more on the podcast this season. So I always get a lot of people that will ask me, how do I define purpose? What is a purpose versus a calling versus an assignment? Can you have more than one? There's so many definitions, so many thoughts around this. And again, whatever I share with you guys, take it back to God in prayer. But at the end of the day, purpose is literally asking God, what is it that you want me to do with my time here on earth? Whether you want to call it an assignment, whether you want to refer to it as a calling, a purpose, at the end of the day, it's figuring out, God, what am I supposed to do while I'm here on this earth? You created me. It says in your word that you knew me before I was even in my mother's womb as an unformed substance. You knew me and you had plans for me. So now that I'm here, God, what are your plans for me? How do you want me to spend these years that I have here on this earth? That is what purpose is. And that is as simple as I can explain it. Are there a lot of things that go into understanding what your purpose is? Yes. Are there roadblocks that you will have to overcome as you are pursuing your purpose? Yes. Does it require growth? Does it require you to step outside of your comfort zone? Yes. So again, it's simple, but it can get complex. But at the heart of it, it's literally asking God, how do you want me to spend my time here on this earth? And y'all, it's so important that we're walking in our purpose, because if we're living below our capacity, we're not experiencing the fullness of life that God planned for us. Imagine the creator of Apple, the creator of Facebook, TikTok, social media, the creator of anything, the inventor of anything. They have a purpose for the thing that they create. And you can imagine as an inventor, as a creative, the frustration you must feel, or the sadness you may even feel, if someone is not utilizing your product the way you intended. They're not getting all the benefits out of it. So imagine God creating you, creating me, creating all of us, and saying, these are the things that I want Charae to do while she's on this earth. I've equipped her to do these things and to do them extremely well, to be extremely successful doing these things. Imagine if I never take the time to figure out what those things are. Imagine if I allow fear to get in the way of me pursuing those things. If I allow not wanting to be uncomfortable keep me from pursuing those things. Imposter syndrome, other people, trying to keep up with the Joneses. Imagine if I let all these things get in the way of the one thing or the things that God has predestined and created me to do. It's like I'm not living to my full capacity. And so a lot of times you find people who are not, and you may be one of those people. I've been one of those people where, you're successful as far as you have a good job, you got the degree, you're doing well in life, but you're just not happy. Like you feel like you're missing out on something, like there's something more you're supposed to be doing. You're not fulfilled. It could be because you're living below your capacity. You were created to do more, or you were created to do something totally different, but you're not living in that space. You're not operating in that lane. And so no matter how much money you make, no matter how many followers you get, how popular you are, how educated you are, if you're not functioning in the way that you were created to function and doing the things that you were created to do, of course you're not going to be fulfilled in what you're doing. And so that is why I'm so passionate about talking around purpose and coaching people to find their purpose, to overcome the things that are stopping them from going after it once they get clarity on what it is. And so I am going to talk about that a lot more on this podcast. God is so amazing, because even in my time off from this podcast, He has already given me the next 7 episodes. So all of season 4, I know what I'm talking to y'all about, okay? God has already downloaded that in me. And so I love how even though I haven't been in front of the camera or behind the mic, God has still been downloading into me because I've been in His presence. And I'm really excited about this upcoming season and the things that we're going to discuss. I'm excited about just being more transparent. That's something that God has been working with me on. And being more relatable. I come from always feeling like things have to be perfect. right, before I put anything out. And don't get me wrong, I always want to create the best content that I can for you guys, but I don't want that to get in the way of the message, of doing what it is that God has called me to do, saying what he's called me to say, going where he's called me to go. So that is what has been happening with me a little bit. I really just got in front of the camera behind the mic and was like, God, speak through me. I don't even know where to begin because it's been so long since I've talked to you guys. And so I just really said a lot, and none of it was planned. None of it was planned whatsoever. I didn't think I was going to go into talking about purpose the way that I did. So that obviously was for somebody, for more than somebody. I believe that message was for a lot of people. But I'm going to wrap up this episode. I just want to say welcome back. If you are a returning listener, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can actually watch this episode, Inspired by Charae, is my YouTube channel. And again, you can stream the podcast wherever you stream podcasts at. And you guys stay tuned. Again, please leave comments below in the comment section, or if you are streaming, leave comments, reviews. I really, really want to build community with you guys in a more intimate and deeper way going into 2024. That's something that God has been working with me on, and I've been brainstorming and figuring out what that looks like exactly. So feel free to drop any, feedback or suggestions on that. But thank y'all for tuning in, and I will see y'all on the next episode.